Okay, so I said I probably wouldn't make this video because the last video just focused on inking the original work, but I've had quite a few people ask me if I will put a video up of a colouring process, which I've decided to do. There may be points in this video where I fast forward a bit here and there because it's going to be quite a long process. There's going to be quite a few cuts as well whilst I'm waiting for drying. As always, you'll probably hear my pugs snoring and snorting in the background. So if you're wondering what those strange noises are. And I shall begin this shortly. As I say, there are going to be periods where I'm going to fast forward this video just because otherwise it's going to probably go into the hours, and it's going to take a long time to edit and upload and that kind of thing. So there will be some areas where I speed through the process a little bit, and just give you a rough idea. There might not be every step along the way filmed, but there may be. We'll just have to see how it goes, and I hope you get something from it. As always, please like and subscribe, and if you've got any questions, head over to my Facebook page. The links are in the comments, and feel free to join up there and ask anything you may, if you'd like to request any videos or anything like that. And I'm going to now start colouring, so I hope you enjoy. Okay, so that's the first phase over. Just laying down a basic background colour. I'm using relatively thin paper on this occasion, so it's important I let it dry before I add any more, otherwise it's going to sort of start to break the surface of the paper up, which you generally don't want. Sometimes you can use it as a benefit if you're trying to create textures and that kind of thing, but I don't really want to do that in this video, or on this painting I should say. So I'm going to let it dry now, and then I will come back, probably go over a lot of the colour again, maybe 1 or 2 times, something like that. Maybe whilst the camera's off I'll just add a little bit extra here and there if I see anything that I've missed, and then I just begin to sort of add the details and shading a little bit later on, and yeah, that's it so far. So I will cut the camera now and be back when this is dried. This is one of the offending snorters that you can hear in the background, and that's the other one, always causing problems, and usually barking and destroying things near my art desk, which is why you can sometimes hear them. Although I have to say, when I've watched my videos back, you can actually hear them less than I always think, but just in case you're ever wondering what they look like. There we go. Okay, so back for round 2. I'm just going to add some more colour to it now. It hasn't quite dried out as much as I'd like really, but I'll be sitting around all day waiting for it otherwise, and I need to get on. So this is a sort of more of a personal project than a customer's commission, so it doesn't matter too much if I rush it slightly. It's really just sort of for video demonstrations and that kind of thing. Sometimes I run prints of them or greetings cards and that kind of thing, but chances are this is just one for videos and that kind of thing, really putting on social media. So I'm going to start again, so I'm going to go quiet now. Might speed elements of this up, I don't know yet, we'll see, but it's just get some more depth to the colour now before I start adding details and that kind of thing. So let's get going. Excuse me. So there we go, that's the second coat, I suppose you could call it. I will go through and add some more in certain areas on there. And then after that, the next steps are just sort of adding detail and building up shadows and textures and details and that kind of thing. So that's going to be the next job. I'm going to make a cut in the video now because I need to let it dry out a little bit more before I start on that. And generally the last phases are the longer phases. So you've seen I suppose the quickest part of the actual painting is just getting a rough colour down. And then we have to start building up and creating all the, let's say, the textures and shadows and depth in the actual painting. So that's the bit that can take quite some time. Haven't quite decided what I'm going to use yet, if it's just going to be watercolour that I've been using so far, or I'm going to throw in some other materials or put some extra pencil work in there just to create a little bit more interest in there, in various places on there. But as I say, that's it for now until I come back when it's all dry. So I'll see you, well, it'll only be a few seconds for you, but probably be about half an hour to an hour for me. So we'll be back shortly. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit more depth to the colour now. Not on everything, but on a few bits here and there. Certainly the bales of straw, I just want to bring out the sort of the golden, almost orangey kind of colours out of those a little bit more, because I quite like the faded effect as well, and some of my pictures I will happily leave them like that. These ones aren't too bad. It's the one over here I just want to work on a little bit more. But yeah, I think it just needs a little bit more depth to it. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to add a few more details, as I've already explained several times on a few other bits, and just bring out a little bit more vibrancy in the image, so it looks a little bit more saturated. You may have noticed while the camera was off, I was fiddling about adding a little bit of grass texture here because I've bought some new brushes, so I was just playing around rather than doing that on camera. And I might use that on a few other areas once I've finished doing the colouring. So I'm going to focus on some of the straw and probably bringing out the deep orange of the pumpkins and just a few other areas. So I'll start that now. Okay, so I've brought the vibrance and the saturation up on the picture now, just by adding some extra colours here and there, and just intensifying it slightly. Still not finished by any stretch. I have lots more of that to do, but I am conscious of how long the video is going to be, so I am going to need to, I probably already have sped up certain areas of it, and perhaps even cut some areas out, otherwise it's just going to be a long video. But you can essentially see what I'm doing there, just to give it a little bit more saturation and I suppose just bring the image to life really a little bit more. With the pumpkins, I shall not happy with those yet. I shall intensify those a little bit more as well, so they look a little bit more like like they have a candle in them, so it looks like as if they're glowing. Not that would be a good idea in real life with all the straw and whatnot stored around there, but that's what I shall do. And I'm also going to bring out some more details on the badger, because I've only just put a base layer on there really, so I still have that to do. So I'm going to crack on with that now, and the next time I come back we'll be pretty much ready for the sort of the finishing touches. Okay, I'm going to stop here because I can see the battery on my camera is about to die, so I'm going to have to go and charge that now. So when I come back, I will have done a fair bit more of the painting, and then you'll be able to see what it looks like when it's finished. Okay, I'm back after the battery suddenly died on me. I've had to continue whilst the battery is recharging because I've got lots of other things to do, and fitting this in has taken a bit longer than I originally thought. So far, I can't be 100% sure, but about 3 hours worth of work, something like that. I've done it slightly differently to how I'd usually usually do it. Not 100% finished yet, so I'm adding a few more details which I'll go through whilst you're still watching. Going to put some grass in here. I don't want to put too much in. This is just a sort of to give a suggestion of grass, really. I mean, we've already done that with some of the ink lines on there, but I'm actually testing out a new brush, so that's primarily why I'm doing this. Sometimes I wouldn't actually put any of these little blobs on there. I think that's enough of the grass texture. I've painted the badger, and I've also just used a bit of pencil on there just to bring out a little bit more detail. I've gone over the pumpkins again just to give them a little bit more depth. And that's pretty much it really. I'm just going to fiddle about adding just a little bit more colour in various places. I'm just going to put a little bit more colour on these areas here, just along the tops. And then I think I'll be calling it an end on this one really. It's quite a long YouTube video, so I'm going to have to amend that, because it has, as I say, it's taken about 3 hours. I think a little bit more than that, but that is excluding drying time though. But of course what I don't show you in the YouTube videos is the planning of drawings and drawing the rough and everything like that. If I include that in the time, then it does take a lot longer. I've had a few people ask me to colour this particular painting in on video. One of them was Kelly from my Facebook page, so I thought I'd paint it in the end. As I say, I wasn't originally going to, but I had quite a few requests to do so. I think I've had more requests to paint it than I've actually had viewers of the original video. So I don't know what's going on there really, but there we go. Less more people have viewed it than it's saying. Got a fly buzzing around now. I don't know if you can hear that. I was going to drop some colour into the background. Sort of these areas here, I usually, well not usually, but I do sometimes add a little bit of colour. Sometimes blues, but, sorry that's my phone buzzing away. Sometimes blues, but more than likely with this kind of image I'd put a sort of a golden colour in the background. But I don't think I'm going to do that. I was originally going to do that, but I don't think I'm going to bother. It might look like I have a little bit when I've scanned it, because scanners pick up the sort of the creamy colour in the paper, and it sometimes looks like a subtle wash in the background, because an image like this is a real nightmare to cut out all of the background on when you scan something in. Sometimes you can scan things in and you just sort of change the values a little bit, and they don't really look like excuse me, doesn't really look like they need to be separated from the background. But an image like this, because of all these little sort of nooks and crannies, it's quite time consuming if you do it properly. So I probably won't do it properly, as it's not for a professional job, this one. It's just for fun. But normally, if this was going into print, if I was to turn it to a greetings card, or it was going to be published in a book or magazine or something like that, you have to cut around every little part on the picture so that the background that has been scanned from the paper doesn't show. Otherwise you get sort of a texture and almost like just a slightly off colour. So if you want it to have that real vibrant white background, you have to cut every little bit out, and it takes ages. I mean, you can sometimes spend hours just on one image once you've painted it and you've scanned it in, and then you use something like Photoshop just to cut away the background, and that's really time consuming. And I'm no Photoshop expert. I have to say I can use it for basic things, and I only ever use it for sort of resizing images, and as I say, cutting away backgrounds. That's pretty much all I use it for. Maybe the occasional watermark, and just cropping images, but that's about my limit in terms of knowledge of how to use it, really. I think that's about it, really. I'm just you've got to know when to stop, and I'm getting to that point where I think I should be stopping, but I'm still sort of fiddling about adding details that I don't really need to add. And I suppose a part of art is knowing when you've done enough and when you haven't. And I think that's enough. I think if I continue to work it, it's going to look a little bit overworked, and probably lose some of the detail that's already in there. So I'm going to end the video here. Thank you for watching. I know it's been a long video, and again, as always, please do subscribe, like the video, and if you'd like to see more of my work, head over to my Facebook page, because that tends to be where I'm most active. I am on Twitter and Instagram as well, but certainly Facebook is my main page, and it's just facebook.com/Kris, and that's with a K, K-R-I-S, and then my surname Miners, M-I-N-E-R-S, and then the word art. So facebook.com/Kris Miners art, and then you'll be able to see some of my other work, but that's also going to be in the description if you'd like to just click through from there. And I'll see you all again soon. Thanks for watching.